Hi everyone, it's Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. I am continuing to look at this table full of action figures and collectibles that I have in front of me, of stuff that I want to review and go over and share some thoughts on, and there's still quite a bit, but I think, since we just looked at the 85th anniversary Wolverine, we should take a look at the 85th anniversary Superior Spider-Man, because I think there's quite a bit to say about this one. We're not going to look at him alone, though. We're going to play a little game of which is better, compare him to the 2014 version of the last Superior Spider-Man figure that came out.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So like I said, we're playing a game of which is better today. We are comparing the 2014 Superior Spider-Man, which was in the Ultimate Green Goblin Build-A-Figure wave, and we are comparing him to the 85th anniversary Marvel Legends Superior Spider-Man, which is his own single release, which is just in a box all by itself. It's not part of a Build-A-Figure wave, but it is part of this 85th anniversary program that the Marvel Legends team is doing. My first round, as always, is the paint and overall appearance of these figures. We're going to look at the 2014 version first. This was when Hasbro kind of started putting out Marvel Legends again. They had kind of taken a little bit of a break. They were, they were in a weird spot, and Legends were coming back around, and I think they were experimenting. And this figure, for the time, wasn't bad. It was actually very exciting to get this figure, because I want to say it was still pretty new in the comics. But the paint and overall appearance of it, the web design is a little scattered, especially on the head. You can kind of see how it's... Let's zoom in. There we go. Focus in on the head. It's a little all over the place there, but that was how the costume was kind of drawn. The spider symbol is rather large on his body. But, going around, you do see the black detail there, and the red shows up where it showed the appropriate pops of color. The back doesn't have certain elements like the spider backpack that was featured in the comics, and the arms are missing the gauntlets, which were featured in the comics. The coolest thing I liked about this head sculpt, though, was the eyes. They weren't like that just white. They weren't those white Spider-Man eyes. They kind of were almost a darker color, almost like, I guess, supposed to be reflective, as Superior Spider-Man's eyes were kind of drawn to be. Looking at our new 85th anniversary version of Superior Spider-Man, I'll be the first to admit the spider isn't as pronounced, but I think the web look, for as scattered and messy as it might be, does look a little better. I think it looks very cool, and going all around, you do see now that we have the arm gauntlets on this figure. We have the backpack, which is removable. You can just pop it off easily enough, and then it doesn't have a spider symbol on the back because it's that's where the backpack goes, but that is there. And the eyes have that cool reflectiveness to them. They painted what looks like he's looking at city blocks while he is web slinging. There are some other appearance accessories to talk about. There is just another head that goes with it. Again, that cool web pattern on the face, but the eyes, a little more white than nothing else. And there is also a secondary backpack that you can plug on with the big, what do they call them, the Waldos? The big spider legs coming out of the backpack, which is very essential to this character because he was drawn with these a lot of the time. So, thinking about all the new features that my 85th anniversary Marvel Legends Superior Spider-Man has, I gotta say, I think he wins round one. I think it's fairly obvious. So there we go. You probably guessed that from the start. But yeah, 85th anniversary is taking round one. My second round is about the articulation, and the 2014 Ultimate Green Goblin Build-A-Figure Marvel Legends Superior Spider-Man has his head on a ball joint that does rock back and forth. So, you get some movement on the head. You get a lot of up, you get a lot of down, you get twist, and a little bit of wiggle and waggle on that ball joint. Moving down to the body, we do have rotation at the waist, and we do have ab crunch. So he does bend quite a bit, which is nice. There are butterfly joints on this figure, something that I feel like at this time not a lot of Spider-Man or Marvel Legends figures had. So that is nice. They are a little big, I will admit, compared to what we have now. You can kind of if you're trying to hide the joint, he almost gets ape-like in stature or so. But they're there. Arms will rotate all the way around. They will go out about that far, and there is rotation there at the shoulder as well. At the bicep, rather. At the elbow, we do have double elbow bend, so you get some deep bend in there. And at the hands, we rotate, and we have left and right, in and out, side to side movement like that. Same, of course, on the other arm. At the legs, we do have legs that will kick forward that much. Kick backwards, not all that much, but kick out less than you probably think a Spider-Man figure would. So there we go. Rotation at the thigh, double jointed knee. You can kick his butt. And a foot that will swivel back and forth and side to side. So good articulation. You know, this is kind of standard Marvel Legends articulation. The figure, I will say, is still a little scrawny, and you know, it is still Peter Parker's body under here, just Doc Ock's mind in there. So you know, I feel like this is a very scrawny Spider-Man. Looking at the new one, we have a not a scrawny Spider-Man, just to say that, but the head is on a I want to say this is a dumbbell joint. Nope, I'm sorry, I take that back. You can see that there is the joint there for the ball joint, so it will look up and down and left and right, and because the head is on a ball, there's a little bit of wiggle and waggle in there. Going down to the body, we do have rotation at the waist, and we have ab crunch, and apparently that was there to help accommodate the backpack with the Waldos. If it were on that inverted dumbbell joint, I believe it might not have been. We might not have been able to get the backpack. I feel like I heard the Marvel Legends team say that. So we do have butterfly joints there at the shoulders. Arms will go all the way around. They go up a little higher than the old one. And rotation at the bicep, as you can see. We have double jointed elbows. These are pinless. I do enjoy pinless joints. It doesn't add to the articulation. I just like to say that. Hands will rotate and swivel in and out as you need them to. The you know, all the hands are going to be doing that regardless of what style hand he has, and he has a couple hand options, but we'll be getting there. At the waist, we do have drop down hips, so that is nice. But otherwise, the legs are going to kick forward about this much. Kick back just a little bit. You can see a little kickback. And he can do a pretty good split. And again, those drop down hips kind of help with some of that movement. Full rotation at the leg there. Double jointed knee. There is boot cut, which the old one did not have. Looking at the feet, we have full rotation forwards and backwards, swivel side to side, and toe articulation. I've said it before, I'm not the biggest fan of toe articulation, but it is nice that it is there. So with all that considered and all that looked at, I'm giving my round 2, the articulation round, to our new 85th anniversary Superior Spider-Man. Really just has superior movement to him. As per usual, my third round is about the accessories, and this original Superior Spider-Man came with a web shooting hand on his right hand, and a gripping hand on his left hand. So there we go. He also came with interchangeable hands, so you could also do a web shooter on the left, and this kind of grippy hand with a thumbs up on the right. So really just, you know, 2 sets of hands. That's all you got with this figure. There was nothing else other than a Build-A-Figure part, but I don't count Build-A-Figure parts because it makes another figure. So we're going to leave him back here. Our new one comes with quite a bit of accessories. Let me bring him up. So first off, he currently is sporting a web shooting hand here, and he is sporting this like kind of clawed hand, something that you saw him use in the comics. His hands were more clawed in nature, at least in the costume, which gave him a tactical advantage when fighting and things like that. Some of the things that I have already talked about is that this Spider-Man does come with another head. So there is that secondary head sculpt without the city kind of reflective eyes, which I really dig. So they're probably staying on that Spider-Man. But of course there is another web shooting hand for his right hand. There is another clawed hand for his left hand. And there are a left and a right fist that he can use just to punch. Very cool accessories. I like that they gave him a number of options here. I think it is very, very neat. Of course, going along with all this, as I already showed off, there is the Waldo backpack. And if you want to put this on, you just take off this backpack. It pops off very easily. Plug the new one in. Make sure I'm doing this on camera. And boom, now we have Spider-Man with the Waldo arms, the arms coming out of the backpack, and these arms are articulated. I didn't talk about this during the articulation round, but all of these arms have multiple points of articulation. There is articulation right there where it plugs in, but do be careful because I did notice some stress marks on mine already from moving it around. So the arms will rotate around. They will bend in and out, as you can kind of see them doing here. So they can come forward if you want them to. There's another joint here. So one joint, a third joint here, and a fourth joint here. So they really do move, and at all these joints, you can rotate. So you can really rotate these however you please, which is pretty neat. You know, they really gave some love, put some love into these Waldos. They do move very nicely, and they are articulated very well. They are a little heavy, and it does make balancing the figure a little difficult. Not the end of the world, but it can be a little difficult. I just don't know if I'm going to display them with these because I don't know if I have the shelf space for these. They are very large, and right now I already have the Civil War Iron Spider-Man, comic Civil War, with his big long spider legs out, and kind of not sure if I'm going to be able to fit both on a shelf like this. But anyway, round 3 goes to my 85th anniversary Superior Spider-Man. He just offered so much more. Alright, so round 4, let's talk about the price of these figures. You know, the 2014 version, when he came out, Marvel Legends were like 15 bucks. It wasn't bad, but now, still, even with this new one out, he's going to cost you anywhere between $37 to $48 on the secondary market, maybe even higher depending on who you're buying from. Our new one retails for $30. However, on the secondary market right now, if you're looking at other people selling it, you know, you might find him for as low as $24, and the highest I've seen has been like $33. So this really is still a figure that is available to get. I know you can find him in Targets and maybe Walmarts. I'm sure online e-tailers also have him in stock as well. So just because of the ease to currently get this one, as I'm recording this in August of 2024, I'm giving round 4 to our new 85th anniversary 2024 version of Superior Spider-Man. Alright, I was determined to get one shot on camera of Superior Spider-Man balancing on the Waldos. I don't know how long he can really hold this pose, but for now it works. My 5th round is about my display compatibility. Listen, if you're trying to build a Marvel Legends Spider-Man roster consisting of different Spider-Man costumes and things that look really good, our new one is going to be your best bet. Listen, the old one looked good on my shelf for a time, but quite honestly, he kind of stopped looking good a couple years ago. Once they started putting out better articulated Spider-Man, a little beefier, and just, you know, Spider-Mans that were better proportioned, this one stopped looking good. Like, I don't want to knock it because it was good when it came out, but it hasn't looked good compared to some new stuff in quite a while. This was really, like, this is what you want a Superior Spider-Man to look like. These look great, and quite honestly, I might stick a flight stand underneath him just to kind of give the effect that he's balancing on these while the flight stand's really doing all the work. I think that might be a cool way to pose him, but I think this is going to be the better looking Spider-Man for your shelf. So round 5 goes to our 2024 Superior Spider-Man. It really is just the superior version of this figure. So there you have it. The die has indeed been cast, and the new Superior Spider-Man 85th Anniversary Marvel Legends just wins every round. Without a doubt, the better of these two figures. You probably could have guessed that from the beginning, but I hope you enjoyed this look at both versions of Superior Spider-Man, and I hope you'll leave me a comment telling me which one you like better. If you're going to make a case for the 2014 one, it better be a strong case, but don't let that stop you. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and until next time, I've been Dan, you've all been pretty awesome, and I'll see you around. Well, there we go. What did you think of this video? Sound off in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, we are making a push to get to 700 subscribers here on the channel. If we do that before the HasLab Giant Man arrives, I will be giving away the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure that you've seen on my shelf and things like that. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Come geek out with with us on the